Hello, beautiful light-skinned ladies and all the other beautiful exoticals who have subscribed to this channel. Today I have a video for you about my experience with 4C hair. And before I get into it, I want to just say thank you so much for getting me to, I think, like 250 subscribers. I think that's where we're at right now, and that's like absolutely crazy to me. I did not expect that at all. So thank you so much, and shout out to all of the other exotical channels and the other channels who have also created an additional niche space for light-skinned Black women. I don't really know any off the top of my head right now, other than the ones that I have constantly promoted on this channel, like All Mixed Up, and I think it's Exoticals Dollhouse, and then Exoticals United, and there's another one. I know her username, but I don't want to say it. I'm trying to think of the channel name. Oh my goodness. But if you have a channel, an exotical channel, please feel free to drop your channel name and link in the comments below. What you're looking at on the screen right now is a new feature that I found out about in Pinterest, where you can make a collage or like a vision board. And so as you see here, these are like two MLS women. That's because I was looking at photos of, and I'll just go ahead and, I don't know, discard this. I was looking at photos of light-skinned Black women or mixed light-skinned Black women, MLS, people who either look mixed or they are light-skinned, or because they have light skin, they are ambiguous, things like that. But they also have, textured hair, like, for type 4 hair. Okay, so as I go through this video, I'm just going to be scrolling through these photos on Pinterest. Okay, But yeah, I want to do this video in a slightly different organization than I've usually done my videos. So I'm going to be introducing like questions and answers, okay? So I basically just want to talk about my journey with 4C hair or type 4 hair, and what it is that I love so much about it, why I like it, and how I feel it kind of influences my identity as a light-skinned Black woman, okay? So first, what is my hair type and how do I perceive it? Okay, so my hair type is actually kind of frizzy and undefined. So like this woman's hair type is, I feel like, really close to my hair type, only she has way more definition than my hair has, I feel like, especially as it gets longer. Like when my hair is short the way that it is now, it kind of looks more like this. And if you watch one of my videos, or my past video, or the video before the most recent video, it was about pretty privilege and beauty, how I perceive beauty. I mentioned that I recently cut my hair to like a short TWA pixie, and I absolutely love it. So my hair currently looks closer to something like this. But before that, when I was wearing my like quote unquote natural hair, my hair texture is something like, it's something in between this and this, right? And now those two may look pretty different to you, but this girl has like color in her hair, so a lot of times color can make your hair look more see-through than darker hair. But I see that these two hair types are kind of similar, so I'm somewhere in between that. But there's no negating that my hair is absolutely type 4, and I have always just kind of perceived my hair as normal. I never really had any, I guess you can say, like hang-ups about my hair, and I'll get into that a little bit later down the line. But yeah, that is my hair type. Now, how did I find my hair type? So you guys are all aware of the curl typing pattern chart, right? So when I was in high school, I had started to wear my quote unquote natural hair, and on YouTube, the natural hair community was popping. Okay, it was taking off. And a lot of what you saw in the natural hair community on YouTube was content that was categorized based on your curl pattern, which today I don't really heavily subscribe to. Back then I didn't either, but because it was something that was so new, just the novelty of it all is what attracted me. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and find my hair type. So that's what it was based on. And that whole curl typing pattern chart comes from Oprah Winfrey's hairstylist. He created it to basically help women understand his products and which products would be best for them. But as an adult, I recently found out my porosity. And when I say recently, I mean within the past year. I recently found out, I think I have this one already saved, but I recently discovered that my porosity was low porosity, which is a lot more important. It plays a much bigger role in hair care and styling. At least for me, it does. But yeah, I wasn't aware of my porosity. Neither was my mom. That just wasn't something that was highlighted at that time in the natural hair community, especially on social media. Okay. And as a minor, how did I style my hair, or how is my hair being styled as a minor? So as a minor, initially my hair was not chemically processed, and my mom, she would do, grease, water, and the add the little barrettes and the bubbles, the little bubble ball, rubber band ponytail holder thingies, those things. And that was how she styled my hair for like my early childhood. I'm not sure what happened, and I didn't really ask her why. And I think that it may have had something to do with undiagnosed autism. Okay, I'm back. A phone call came in. So, yeah, when I was a minor, my mom would style my hair with grease, water, and use the bubbles, like in my early childhood. And for whatever reason, and I personally think that it's because of, all of the things that come with when you have undiagnosed autism and young toddlers. That's probably what happened, or just like young, like 7-8-year-olds. I believe that was what motivated her to go ahead and put a relaxer in my hair. And my hair didn't fall out or anything. That was just what we did. But then I noticed that as I got older, my mom was embracing more of the like extension styles. So styles that use extension. So oftentimes my hair would be in braids, or I would have clip-ins. Like she would relax my hair, and then she would press it, and then mix it in with clip-ins. And we even did crochet with certain things. I think the only thing, and I even had a sew-in at one point for a special occasion. This was not like a regular thing. And I think the only thing that I did not do was like wigs. I didn't do any of that when I was a minor. And I just mostly had like silk presses on, the chemically processed hair, and clip-ins and crochets and braids, like stuff like that for the most part. Okay. So I realized that, this is a lot of upkeep. Mom is struggling. I am stressed out at school. By this time, I'm like in high school, right? And I'm doing a very vigorous, I'm doing like a very challenging, what do you call it? Diploma plan. Because I don't want to say the reason I'm hesitating is because I don't want to say the actual program name for like privacy reasons. But basically, this was something where it was global. It wasn't just something that was accredited by the U.S. It was global, and it was for high schoolers, but it was a lot of work. It was like college level work. Okay, so I was like really stressed out, and at that time we didn't really have a lot of money. My mom was not yet a business owner, nothing like that, right? So I remember I was just like so stressed and so overwhelmed, and I'm getting older. I can't rely on my mom for everything, and I completely cut my hair off. And not all of it. Like I think I had some left, but it was pretty minimal, and it was so sudden and random. And it was during the school week, okay? So it was on a school night, and my mom was very surprised, okay? And that was the end of all of the super, or not the end, but that was more so, I would say, a beginning for me when I started to embrace other types of hairstyles that didn't involve extensions. Nothing against extensions. I never did stop wearing extensions or hair that involves extensions. Never did stop. Not at all. Okay. So moving on, because we are going to circle back to that and like what life was like for me at that time after doing like such a big chop. But before we do that, I want to move on to the next thing, which is basically what messages did I receive? Oh, this is so beautiful. Look at her. What messages did I receive from, my family or for people around me about my hair growing up? And I've mentioned on this channel multiple times that my mom is actually very fair-skinned. She's a lot lighter than I am. But yeah, my mom is a lot lighter than me. She's actually, I'm trying to find, like, she's closer to this skin tone without a tan, right? And I am like closer to like this skin tone, maybe a little bit. I have a little bit more. Well, I have tanned, so yeah, I'm like closer to this. I don't have that yellow undertone. My undertone is more ashy, like something like this, And so she's a lot lighter than I am, So the message I received from her about my hair was, how good it is, because her hair is slightly more tightly coiled than my hair. And I actually, when I say that, I don't know if that's necessarily true now that I know more about like the science of hair. I think her hair is just a higher porosity than mine is, because with low porosity hair, your cuticle is like shut closed, so it's easier to straighten. Like you don't have to use such a high temperature to straighten low porosity hair. It's easy to get slip if you're using water-based products on low porosity hair, because the product literally just sits on top of the hair shaft, so you have the illusion of moisture, like your hair getting moisturized, even though your cuticle probably isn't even all the way open for it to penetrate your hair shaft. So I believe that's kind of why she felt that my hair was, easier, more manageable, or quote unquote better, But I also think it had to do a lot with how she was treated as someone who's very fair-skinned growing up. And in conjunction with that, she has, 4C, high porosity hair, similar to Kendall Weaver, the basketball player I was talking about in my other video, about how Black people and non-Black people, white people as well, they get really triggered when they see light-skinned Black people with 4C hair or type 4 hair, and they'll even use it to denigrate light-skinned Black people, to make fun or clown their image. And so my mom definitely went through that a lot, and she struggled with showing love to her hair. So as a result, with me, me being darker than her, and me being having hair that had a lower porosity, those were things that she had kind of internalized and pedestalized. And so she always made sure to let me know that my hair was beautiful, and that my hair is she really likes my hair. But it didn't go over my head that part of how she did that was by basically letting me know that your hair is so much easier to work with, and that may be true because of the low porosity. So I don't think that we have the exact same experience. And I don't think I have the exact same experience as a lot of Black women who went on the natural hair journey because of the support that I had at home. Whereas I didn't come from a place of like, oh yeah, like my hair is, my hair is difficult to manage, and there aren't any products made for my hair. I'm not saying that I don't believe that those things are true, but that wasn't the perspective that was kind of given to me. That she has good hair, like her Haitian daddy, So that was kind of what I received, even though my hair is still type 4, and it's not even 4A. I can't even say that it's 4B. Yeah, really confusing, I know. I guess my hair is something like, it's something like this, but like way more frizz, like a lot more frizz. Okay, so when did I start wearing quote unquote natural hair? I think I answered that question already. That was in high school, and I did like a whole big chop. And so moving on, how did adults and peers treat me after doing the big chop? And this is like, I'm like 16 years old, 16, 17, so around that age. And basically the kids at my school, so because I was in this like rigorous program, and because this rigorous program was also highly, highly gate kept by the people who lived in the zone of that school, which was a predominantly white area, there weren't very many other Black students in my classes whatsoever. So most of my classmates were not Black, and they were never openly racist to me. I was more so just kind of excluded and isolated, which I really didn't mind because I had enough to deal with back at home and in like the real world outside of school. And I had enough to deal with on top of that. Like, this is a very rigorous program, so I didn't mind that. But it was so interesting when I came back to school that day with my big chop, everyone had so many nice things to say, and most of the people who had nice things to say were these who I believe to be prejudiced or just uncomfortable around Black people. It was coming from them. These compliments were coming from these white people who were hell-bent on ignoring me and hell-bent on excluding me until I showed up with a teeny weeny afro. So has anyone ever experienced that, where like either with Black people, with white people, whoever, especially if you're like mixed or light skinned, have you ever experienced where people exclude you or kind of isolate you until like you do something, or there's something in your phenotype that is more phenotypically Black, like you cut off all of your hair, or like you gain, if you're a thinner lady like I am, like you gain 50 pounds and now you're like voluptuous, or like now you're slim thick. Like, has anyone ever experienced that, where now all of a sudden this has changed in your body and people are going out of their way to like say something about it, to comment on it? Yeah, that was kind of what happened with me. And I don't want to say that the compliments weren't genuine. I do believe that there was some amount of sincerity, like maybe a tiny little bit of amount of sincerity in what they were saying. But I think it was more so coming from a place of wanting to be politically correct and wanting to go out of their way to show that like, oh yeah, no, we're not racist, or we're not prejudiced, or we're not xenophobic. Because when you do stuff like that, and you isolate someone because they don't have the same culture, race, or background as you, those kind of behaviors get really exacerbated if that person also happens to be doing something like the natural hair movement. Or let's say if I was Muslim and I wore a hijab, I really do think that they would have been falling over themselves to, this crowd of people, these particular type of people, would have been falling over themselves to be like, oh yes, 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 we love all of this, and we are an ally. That was kind of the vibe that I got. The only openly negative things that I got about my hair were from other Black people, and most significantly, it was like an adult. So I was also a cheerleader, and my cheer coach did not like this whatsoever. She had made comments in the past of like, oh, Dulce K is not comfortable in her skin, and Dulce K needs to wear the same hairstyles that everyone else on the team is wearing. And this is so funny because I was the only light-skinned Black girl on the team. There were only 3 Black girls to begin with, but the other 2 had that nice deep caramel skin tone, So, yeah, I was already kind of outed a little bit, like outcast a little bit. And then I wasn't from the neighborhood that lady was from. Like, I wasn't from they like to think of themselves as upper class, but honestly, like, they're not upper class. But, I was from what people would call like the hood or the ghetto, so this lady didn't like that at all. And then on top of that, like, I was speaking other languages pretty fluently for the time that I had spent studying them, and it was a known thing at school. And so she just did not like me at all because, and by the way, this was an unambiguous dark-skinned Black woman that we're talking about, who was my cheer coach. Yeah, so she made every effort to kind of like diss me and try to be like, oh yeah, you just don't look right, you look uncomfortable, when I never did. And this is so funny because this is probably one of the most obvious, or this experience with her and her opinions on my hair is probably the most hair discrimination that I have ever experienced, because our older cheer captain who was graduating, she was an MLS woman with a deep caramel skin tone, which is still or a caramel skin tone, which to me I still consider to be light skin. And her hair was a texture that's like more like this that you see on the screen, but her hair was also very short. Okay, so she had like the short, loose curls, so like both of us have short, teeny weeny afros, but her afro is like this and it's short, and my afro was like, oh yeah, this is a better representation. So this was like her afro, right? And like mine was more like, let me see if I can find, let me go back to my board, see if I can find something. Yeah, mine was more like this or this and short, okay? So she had no problem with the other girl just wearing her TWA. And I think that goes to show how like skin tone and your hair texture, they both influence how people treat us as MLS women. Ugh, I think I've seen this model before. She's just so gorgeous. Oh my God, she's so gorgeous. But yeah, that was like the most open hair discrimination I had ever experienced. Okay. Moving on to the next question. What was my beauty standard back then when I first went quote unquote natural? And I keep saying quote unquote natural because I really don't believe in like, oh yeah, this hair is natural and this hair is not. There's only chemically processed hair and then hair that isn't chemically processed, right? So yeah. Is this the same woman? I don't think so. She looks really cute. Right. So anyways, what was my beauty standard back then? So if you've ever watched any of Exoticals United's videos, you'll know that one of the things that she uses to determine or help women determine what their beauty standard is how do you wear your hair on occasions? Like how do you wear your hair on occasions? Oh my God, another gorgeous photo. Look at her hair. Look at her face. She's so pretty. Okay, so during that time in high school for prom, I was gifted an $800 dress. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was bright scarlet red, and it had a lot of clear lace as well, and it had like a mermaid fit as well, and it was just very gorgeous. And I wore my natural hair. It had grown quite a bit. I wore it it had grown past like the TWA stage, so I wore it in a high ponytail, or like a high bun. Oh my god, this is so me. Okay, look, do you see this photo right here? How she has like the glasses and like the lipstick and the dark eyebrows. So when I got to like my junior, senior year, that's when I got to like experiment with makeup and stuff like that. And my hair was growing, and so this was me, like shorter hair, and my curls are definitely tighter than that and more frizzy. But yeah, this was me. Glasses, lipstick, TWA, okay? But anyways, I wore my hair into a high bun. I wore my natural hair. So that was my beauty standard. And at that time when I went to the event, people could not stop coming to me. Like, these were like kids at my school and teachers or staff who I didn't even know, because I went to a pretty large school. I didn't even know who they were, and they were coming up to me and they were like, "You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful." Like, I'm with my date and they're like coming up to me and they're like, "You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful." Now, before that, for homecoming, I wore a straight style where my hair was pressed out and I wore clip-ins. So I guess my beauty standard back then was fluidity. I was my beauty standard. It was anything my hair can do, it's beautiful, right? I wasn't really thinking about, I must wear my natural hair to prove that I believe that I'm beautiful. Like, no, it was nothing like this. Oh my God. This woman, I like her face. I like the way that she acts in her movies. She's very pretty. I do believe she's mixed, right? Yeah, I think she's mixed. Okay, so yeah, that was my beauty standard. I wasn't fixated on one hair texture or this hair texture. And I think when we let go of that fixation that the natural hair community and the media at least likes to put on us or force us to subscribe to, that's when we can truly start getting into appreciating our hair texture, yeah, and our hair. And hair texture changes, by the way. Like, it does not stay the same, especially if you use heat. Like, it doesn't stay the same. And a lot of people don't have the same hair textures all over their head. Like, I have yet to meet someone who has the exact same hair texture everywhere, all over their head, right? So my beauty standard as a minor was very flexible. And so that led to my beauty standard as an adult being very flexible as well. And so how did I style my hair as an adult? Well, I wore a lot of quote unquote natural hairstyles that did not involve any heat. And I would do things like wear my hair in twists, wear my hair out. And I felt very privileged by doing that because I was very easily identifiable on campus as, a Black student. And at that point, the whole natural hair community thing, I don't know, it just had this like classist prestige to it. Like there was a privilege to people. They assume that you're pro-Black. That can be a privilege. I'm not pro-Black in the way that people are today, but I am pro-Black in the sense that that I believe that as Black people we do have many advantages and privileges. Whether or not we take advantage of those, that's another story. But I do believe that, I believe that we come from the strongest of the strongest. And I'm very proud of our history of how we got here. And then especially as a Haitian woman as well, I'm very proud of being Black. So I'm very pro-Black in that sense. But not pro-black in the sense that, oh, because I'm black, I can't do this, or I must wear my hair this way. But it's interesting because if you wear your hair in a quote unquote natural style, like I was doing in college, people do assume that you are like pro-black. They also assume that you're more sophisticated. They assume that that you have more pride in your culture, things like that. And even some non-black people feel that way or have those beliefs when they see black women, especially light-skinned black women with type 4 hair or just a natural hairstyle. They believe that subconsciously, it's a way of compensating for the light skin, or it's a way of compensating for any kind of inferiority complexes about being black, like if she wears her hair this way, there's no way that she's colorist. There's no way that she likes to wear wigs. There's no way that she can appreciate the beauty in another culture. There's no way that she might be ashamed of her blackness. There's, those kinds of things, right? Like those kinds of things people assume based on how you wear your hair as a light-skinned black woman, right? So in college, I definitely was able to see the privilege in that. I was very easily identifiable in a lot of ways. I was kind of like a poster child of black excellence. And I was that as well growing up while we were in like kind of a classist black environment before we kind of moved to a lower socioeconomic status. And before I moved to that predominantly white school. But, when I got in college, it all came back where it's like, oh yeah, Dulce K, she's a great black student. She's an excellent black student. She wears her natural hair. She like does all of this, right? Then as I got out of college, and by the way, for college, most of college, I wore my hair in like quote unquote natural hairstyles because I realized and I picked up on and understood that it came with a privilege. It came with privileges that were going to be advantageous to me as a light-skinned black woman on a campus where ADOS or like Black American students were already kind of in the minority. We had way more African and first generation African American students than we did ADOS students. And we had way more international Asian and white students than anything, so we were like a super minority, But anyways, once I got out of college, that's when I started to do other different types of hairstyles, like, more of like the braids and then wigs. Yeah, wigs. Now, one thing I will note is that throughout all of that, even with all of the privileges that I received from having natural type 4 hair, even with the fact that I like confidently went natural and it wasn't like anything that I fixated on, there was a huge gap in credible information when it came to like hair care. So I just so happened to come from a family that just did not have the resources all of the time to like go to a licensed cosmetologist, or like I said, my mom was using grease and water in my hair, and I don't know about you, but for me that just does not work. And I recently found that out like in the past 5 years, I want to say. I found out, I learned pretty quickly just through working with my hair after I went natural that like, all these products, I can't do it. My scalp feels crazy. I can see that the product is not going anywhere. It's just sitting on top of my head. This feels disgusting. And I stopped putting any kind of product in my hair other than like leave-in conditioner and oil, but I wasn't doing it the right way. But that's a whole other story. So now as an adult, anyways, I have like a solid routine. Like it's a solid routine that lasts a week, and I do it over and over and over and over again every month. And so recently I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and cut off the hair that is I think is damaged, and I wanted to go get a trim. I'm probably going to make a whole other video about this, but long story short, I did not choose the right cosmetologist, and it resulted in me losing way more hair than I thought that I would have lost. But I don't mind, because my goal was to kind of cut off anything that was quote unquote damaged. And that's exactly what I got. And my God, like, I don't think I had the luxury of really being here with my hair when I was growing up, and not even in college, because I was just so focused on making it. But now, like, everything is chill. You know, I got my stability, and my hair is just amazing. Like, it's super soft. I can brush through it. I actually brush my hair for 10 minutes straight twice a week. Yeah, twice a week, and it's absolutely soft and moisturized without any product at all. And I just absolutely love the growth and my hair texture. I absolutely love it. Like, I catch myself like touching my hair, and I just like can't stop touching it. And when I see videos that talk about like, oh, you know, brushes are bad, or like I can't brush my hair, my 4C hair is unmanageable, it's crazy, because before I cut my hair, I was wearing my hair mostly like blown out. Now, I don't have the skill to blow out my hair when it's like super duper short. I don't know how to like apply the tension to that. But I thought that it would be more difficult for me to keep this TWA pixie in its natural state. And it's like the easiest thing ever. I don't know why I thought it would be more difficult, just because I can't stretch it out and blow dry it. Like, I didn't have to stretch it out just to keep it, you know, neat and detangled. Like, my hair literally does not tingle, you guys, because I brush my hair like twice a week. And I just absolutely love my hair. It's like I said, it's super soft, and it's very moisturized, and I feel like I look like a fairy. I feel like I look like a fairy. It's so cute. It's so cute. And I'm starting to appreciate my texture more, because I'm starting to see that the frizz, I don't know, I kind of like the frizz that's intermixed with the coils. I really do like that. I got to really see like my hair color very well. And you know, my hair looks a lot darker than it did when I first went natural. And I think that's because I'm not like smothering it in products, and like the oil is just coming out of my scalp so easily. So yeah, I absolutely love my 4C hair. And it's funny, because the field that I work in is actually run by a lot of people of color, and definitely a lot of other Black women. And it's gonna be one of those, it's one of those things for me where this type of hairstyle really does make me more recognizable, and it does come with, you know, kind of the same privileges that I experienced in high school and in college. And before I end this video, I do want to talk about one more aspect of my experience with 4C hair, because I don't want to sound tone deaf. Like, hair discrimination definitely does exist, but I want to just kind of reiterate again, I believe that the hair discrimination that we experience as Black women almost always is also intertwined with some other type of featureism, like colorism, or like the features on your face. Like if you have typical African features, and your skin tone as well. So when I would be at work, this is when I was working in a completely different industry. It was a professional industry, but I was in a different industry, also kind of related to like finance and like policies, stuff like that. When I would show up to work, no one really knew exactly what to expect. So I always, and that's another thing, my beauty standard is fluidity. So I always wore like a lot of different hairstyles, but we would have a lot of turnover. So even with the administrator, so our administrators would turn over quite a bit. So I was considered to be one of the core contractors. So I was there throughout all of the turnover rates, right? And there are some other people who are also admins and managers like the director and stuff like that, who were the core. They are the core contractors, they are the core employees, things like that, right? But every now and then I would get a new admin, and the one who stuck out to me the most throughout all of this, she was a white woman, and on our team, so she's the admin, she's the head of like a team of 7 to 10 people, right? So on our team, there was only myself and another black woman, and the other black girl, she was a little bit darker than me, and yeah, I had this administrator who was a white woman, and I don't know if she thought that I was mixed or if she thought that I was like racially ambiguous. Like, you know how there are some people who you look at them and you think, oh, you must be mixed with black, but like really they probably only have like 10% black DNA, and then they're like mixed with like a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't know if she thought that because of the way that I was styling my hair. So like at that time I was doing like a lot of clip-ins and sew-ins, and they looked very natural, and my hair is already kind of like a lighter, like it's still dark brown, but it's not like a black color. My hair is already kind of brown, kind of like what you see in the picture. Okay, so, and I did not have a tan at that time either. So I don't know if she just thought that I was mixed, and the way that I'm speaking to you right now, this is the way that I speak in the world, and actually in the real world, when I speak, I use way more extensive vocabulary. I try not to do that here, mostly because I'm not in a work environment, and like I want my content to be palatable for a wide variety of viewers. So anyways, I guess she thought that I was mixed, and she didn't understand that the other woman was also, like, we're both black women. But she and I, like the other black coworker and I, we got along pretty well, and so we knew, and I don't know if that confused my administrator or what, but like I always do, I change my hair. I change my hairstyle. My beauty standard is fluidity, right? So before I came to work, like, I guess my sew-ins and my other hairstyles, that lasted for about 2 months. So for that entire time, my coworker was telling me about all of the sneaky stuff that the admin was doing with her work, kind of like trying to sneak sabotage her. And I was like, okay, girl, do this, do this, do this, do this, to like help her defend herself. But she had, a slightly different approach, would kind of say things to her kind of out of turn, where it's like, don't say that, just put it in an email, but she didn't fully get it, which is fine, and so the admin had enough wiggle room to really kind of dog her out like a lot, right? The second I showed up with just my hair and it's like quote unquote natural state, no heat, like this is just my normal texture with like low manipulation, not a whole bunch of styling. It was very cute, and I always came to work with like a full face of makeup, like all the time, no matter what my hair was looking like, right? All of a sudden, it was like she turned all of her like negative attention away from her and put it on me, and she was like not acting buddy with me anymore, which I'm like, okay, you don't have to act buddy with me because I'm here at work to work, not to be liked. But she started to try to do the same stuff she was doing with the other coworker with me, with trying to sabotage my work. And the end result of that was that she slipped up and she was let go. It got so bad, you guys, that she sent like an ugly text message to my phone accusing me of shouting. So she tried to pull like the angry black woman card on me once she realized that, like, oh, this is a black woman, because like, look at her hair, she's a black woman, right? So she tried to pull that ABW, or that's funny, ABW, because we use that for ambiguous black woman, but she tried to pull the angry black woman card on me, and it did not work. She exposed herself. And what's so funny was that even though she was friends with the director had known me for a period of years as well. And so she just released her because it was like, you have crossed the line. And it was so funny because as soon as she sent me the text message, I was like, I got her. And like, I sent it out to, I screenshotted it, pasted it in the email, and sent it to not only the admin, but like CC the director and the officer above that, because I knew all of these people. I had met all of them face to face. Like, they know who Dolce K is. They know Dolce K doesn't shout at work. Like, it was so silly. It was like literally so silly. And I might do a whole other video for that, but that just goes to show how like skin tone and hair texture really play a huge role in how you're perceived. And I really do feel like when you have light skin, or if you already look somewhat ambiguous in some way, but then on top of that you have type 4 hair, 4C hair, it really triggers a lot of people, both black and non-black, if they have any type of like prejudice or racist or any kind of colorist biases. The 4C hair or the type 4 hair just exacerbates it. So I can only imagine, you know, what people like Kendall Weaver, what people like my mom and other like people who are way more fair skinned and who have like even coilier hair or have the same hair texture as I do go through. But yeah, that is my experience as a light-skinned black woman with 4C hair. I absolutely love my hair. My beauty standard is fluid. Basically, I am the beauty standard. I am the beauty standard. And, you know, it's all about how you feel. Like, I really do feel as if, I do think that if my hair care routine wasn't so manageable, that I probably wouldn't feel this way, because I've seen a lot of women with all different types of hair textures who feel that because they can't do a particular thing with their hair, because they don't have like a certain skill, or because they don't know what to do, that they feel that their hair isn't good. And what my advice would be to you ladies, or to anyone who feels as though like their hair is a limitation, is to start reaching out to like licensed cosmetologists, start studying about the science of hair, because hair is more than just a texture. Like, hair is your porosity, you know, hair is your skin cell turnover rate, hair is all of these things. Hair is the sebum coming out of your head and making its way down the hair shaft. So like, hair is all of those things. What it isn't is, you know, how black you are or how ambiguous you are. Your hair is not, you know, how straight can I get it, or how defined can I get my curls to be. Like, those things are all good to try to like experiment with, but until like you really embrace like having a routine, like a set routine for the hair, it'll always feel like there's something missing. And when I was growing up, I didn't really pay too much attention to it, but I did feel like, you know, I probably could do something a little bit better with my natural hair. I just don't exactly know. Remember, I cut it off by myself, like while it was like in its curly state, and like we all know that that's a no-no. So I already had kind of an unhealthy start. But even with that, like, the messaging that I received also played a huge role in my ability to be confident without overly fixating on the whole, oh, I have to be black and proud and be natural to prove that I'm black thing, you know? So just some food for thought. Let me know your experiences below if you have any similar experiences when it came to how your family perceived your hair, or gave you messages about your hair, or how non-black people versus black people treated you based on your hair in conjunction with your skin tone. I'd really love to hear. And don't forget that you can always send in your stories as well if you want me to share your story on here, to dolcekletters@gmail.com. Okay, but I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys probably next week. Also, check out Exoticals United's video on skin bleaching. Like, I'm dying to see the next one. This is kind of what motivated me to go ahead and make this video as well, because it's like skin tone changes so much. Like, it changes a lot. All right, thank you so much.